Chicken and corn soup. It's so nostalgic. I love it. Melissa, you're going to show us your version.
I absolutely am. Well, I'm going to start with some stock and we'll get that going, and then, you know, I'll co-opt you into helping me with my recipe.
How did you learn how to make this recipe?
Okay, so I would like to say that this is my mother's recipe or something like that, but it's not. We did not grow up eating this at all.
I love how you're honest about this, because there's so many people would say, my mum, and a lot of mums do show their daughters how to make this.
So my mother didn't teach me this recipe. The local Chinese restaurant was the place I fell in love with this dish. So while I'm doing this, can I get you to just chop coarsely that piece of ginger while I pour the second of the litres of stock in?
Now, there are so many different versions, so many intricate versions, and there's also the sped up version.
This is my foolproof, simple, if you're sick and you don't have anyone else to make this for you, you can make this for yourself and you'll still feel really good at the end of it.
Nice one.
So, yes.
There's your ginger.
Thank you. And I'll just get you to chop the spring onions for me.
Can do.
Really finely. So this is just a garnish for the end, but we might as well get you started.
I can do that.
Fantastic. So the ginger gives the stock a really beautiful kind of perfumed flavour. It's also really good for you, especially if you have a bit of a cold.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I really like to add that in while the stock's heating up, just so that it kind of really infuses into the stock. Great. Now for the chicken, I'm actually using chicken thighs. Now you could start with a whole bird and bring it up to the boil. But what I really love about chicken thighs is that they have a lot of moisture and a lot of flavour in them, and I just think they're really inexpensive, easy to find, and they're just the perfect meat for this particular dish.
I mean, you could use white meat like chicken breast.
Whatever you like, whatever your preference.
I'm with you. I like chicken thigh. I think there's so much more flavour to it.
Exactly, and they're just really tender and juicy at the end, which is what you want.
Exactly. That's boiling?
Stock is boiling, so I'm just going to drop the chicken thighs in and then just turn it down slightly, because I don't want it furiously boiling.
No.
Low and slow.
And you don't want it to boil, obviously, because you don't want tough meat.
Exactly. I mean, that's the simple thing about it, is just drop them in, lower the temperature, and just let them simmer and gently poach. And then what we're going to do is fish them out and just sort of shred them and then pop them back in with the corn, and that's pretty much it.
Sounds great. All right, we'll wait for that to finish cooking and we'll go on to the next stage.
So Jazz, you're doing some great shredding of the chicken there. Now I have some creamed corn and some corn kernels.
Okay.
And the reason why we have two is just for difference of texture. So the creamed corn gives it a really lovely creamy texture, obviously. And then we still have those lovely corn bits as well. So they go in. Now please hand me the chicken. Star of the show.
No. And that's 4 chicken thighs. You can see how many people this soup is going to feed.
Super generous, and you can also freeze it, which is fantastic. So while I'm doing this, would you mind cracking that egg and giving it a light scramble?
Can do. So just 1 egg in the bowl.
Okay, so this is where the magic happens. My favourite part of this soup is when you have the little blooms of egg.
Yes.
And the secret to that is you need to bring the soup up to a boil. So it's a nice healthy rolling boil. And then what we're going to do is just slowly ribbon in the egg and just gently give it a stir. Don't whisk it, because you want those lovely pieces of egg to kind of show up in there.
Yeah, you can see them forming over here. Perfect.
And then just do a little bit at a time, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so the egg is in, so we'll just taste for seasoning, and I always like to put a little bit of white pepper, so would you please hand me the white pepper?
White pepper it is. Don't you burn yourself.
It's pretty good. The stock has a lot of salt, so you don't really need to add a lot, and just a nice little sprinkling of white pepper. Turn that off. And
really
that's
coming together now, isn't
that,
it?
my friend, is done. So all I have to do now is spoon you some so you can taste it.
Beautiful bowl there.
Now we'll garnish with the beautiful spring onions that you chopped before, and a little bit of sesame oil, which is just a lovely way to fancy it up when you've got friends coming over.
You know, I once, and it was once had Chinese takeaway when I was younger, delivered to the house, and it was a chicken and corn soup. And I actually was a little bit turned off it. It wasn't very nice.
Well,
it was very salty
You
and
won't be turned off this
didn't
one.
taste homemade.
Because it is homemade and is delicious and very easy, so you don't need to order it from takeaway.
Right.
So garnish for that, and then if you just pop a couple of drops of sesame oil, not too much, just so you get those lovely little drops on top. Beautiful. Well, that's the hard work done. It's time to have a taste.
All right. I'm looking forward to this. Warms the cockle of your soul, doesn't it? You know what? I said that one time I got that takeaway, it was actually quite horrible. This is delightful. I love that combination of corn and the chicken and the broth. It is one of those things where if it's a cold winter's day, that's all you want. And this is the easy version. This is Mel's version.
And that's right, comfort food should be easy, so this is a really delicious thing to add to your repertoire.
Yeah, I'm gonna try the egg too. So good. Thank you.
Thank you.